Alrighty, Corridors of Time 2 is pretty much here. This is going to be a super rough guide to get everyone caught up. So essentially, there's a series of puzzles that you solve, and when you solve them correctly, you gain the ability to get these puzzle pieces. We think you have to put these puzzle pieces together just like you had to put together the Corridors of Time puzzle pieces, but these are obviously a little bit more complex. Once you get to this point, I have a form down in the comment section where you can submit a screenshot of your puzzle piece. And then as well, when you look at the puzzle piece, if I go inside, once this ends, if you look at my buff debuff side, right, just give it a second, there will be a number. So like I have 1183. So the form requires a good screenshot of your chessboard and the number. That's very important. How do you access this? So you have to have all 60 chess pieces from last week. If you don't have those, I don't think you can do this puzzle. So go get those. There's plenty of great guides. I think Rick did one. I think a bunch of people did them. Okay, so once you have all 60 pieces, come to Eris's apartment, and there's something new for you. So if you come into her throne world, and instead of going to talk to her, drop down below right here. There's a little room underneath. Walk up to the chessboard and interact. Okay, so once you interact with that chessboard, there will be a small flying animation, and then you will be presented with a giant chessboard. These are things that you can interact with to put different chess pieces on the board. And what you have to do is essentially make the current chess scenario so that the black king is in checkmate and your white king, if there is one at the given puzzle, is free, like is not in checkmate. It's as if you get one move. So essentially like here, white king is totally fine. Black king is almost in checkmate, but if it takes the queen, then black wins, or is no longer in checkmate, I guess. And so an easy way to fix this is to put a pawn right behind the queen. And when you do it correctly, it says absolute pin, and it goes on to the next puzzle. There are 27 puzzles. I'm going to give you all the solutions. We're going to run through them. If I make any like verbal mistakes, I'll fix it in the pinned comment down below, but we're going to do this live as quickly as possible. So that's the solution to the first one. For the second one, oh, and for all of these, the chessboard is also numbered, or well, these are letters, and it's also numbered. So on the x-axis, you have A through H because the chessboard is 8 by 8, and then on the y-axis, you have 1 through 8 for the same reasons. So, by the way, if at any point you make a mistake, all you have to do is run up here to reverse your previous action. So let's say like I accidentally put a pawn in the wrong area. Bam. Oh no, a pawn spawned there. It wasn't supposed to happen. You can run up to the thing here, undo previous action, bam. However, if you need to go back to the beginning of the puzzle because you messed something up or you put an extra piece on there, the only way to do that is actually hold select on this book. It'll restart it from the beginning. As far as I'm aware, there's no way just to go back to the previous one. For instance, puzzle 2, I'm not going to take you through the entire scenario. I'm just going to say go up to rook and shoot H8. And I'm going to get kind of fast with it, or else this puzzle or this video is going to be super long. So slow down the video if you have to. Watch it as many times as possible. I just want people to get to the end so we can start solving the bigger puzzle. Step 3, pawn to E5. For puzzle 4, we are going pawn to E4, pawn to F4, as well as knight to D4. For puzzle 5, you're going to start by doing knight to D5. And then you're going to go back to pawn and put it on E6. For puzzle 6, you're going to stay on pawn and you're just going to shoot D1. All right, now we are on step number 7, and you have to put a pawn on F4. You have to put a pawn on D7. You have to put a bishop on E5. And then you have to put a knight on G7. Then we're going to go on to step 8, which requires a knight on C6. It requires a rook on D2. Then we're going to go on to step 9, and all you have to do is delete the only knight here. It is on, what is that? Freaking F6. Go ahead and delete that knight. Then we're going to go ahead and put a knight on d7 for the next puzzle. Bam. We're going to go put a pawn on e4. And then we're going to put a bishop on f5. Next, we're going to go on to step 11. There are 3 pawns here that you have to do. They're all going to be here in the center on c6, on e6, and on d7. And you kind of have to wait for him to spawn before you can do the next one. Then for the 12th puzzle, you're going to go over here, which is the take symbol. And you're going to go ahead and take the bishop on e4. All right, now we are on number 13, which requires you to go over and put a bishop on e5. Then 14 requires 2 pawns, one on b7 and one on f7. And then you're going to go over and you're going to put a knight on h8. Then we're going to put 2 more knights for puzzle 15 on d7 and e7 here in the middle. Then you're going to put a knight on, well, first, actually, you're going to go over to destroy, and you're going to destroy your own pawn on f2. And then you're going to go put a knight there instead. Then you're going to take 2 bishops for this next puzzle, which is puzzle 17. You're going to take the 2 bishops on c3 and e7. Then for 18, you're going to put 2 knights down and a bishop down. The bishop is going to go on c5. There. Then, like I mentioned, you're going to go over and you're going to put 2 knights down, one on d3 and one on f5. For step 19, you're going to delete 2 pieces. You're going to delete the bishops on d7 and e2, which are there and there. Then you have a couple of puzzles here that are all just one piece. So this next one, which is puzzle 20, bishop on e20, or sorry, I did not mean that, on e8, there. Then you're gonna do the next one, 21, a bishop on e2. The next one requires you to go ahead and put a knight on e5, which is right there. And then you're going to have to put one on e3 for the next puzzle, which is number 23. This is where the puzzles get kind of crazy, so I'm going to slow down a little bit. For puzzle 24, you're going to come over and you're going to delete the knight on d5, which is that one right there, the white knight. Then you're going to place 2 knights on c4 and h3. And then finally, you're going to put down 2 pawns on b6 and b7. There you go. Now you're on to number 25. This requires 2 rooks. It requires 1 rook, in fact, on d2. Then you're going to destroy 2 pieces. First off, you're going to destroy the queen on e4, which is right there. Then you're going to destroy the pawn at h4, which is right there. Then you're going to finish this off by placing down a queen on d7. d7. And then you're also going to take the knight on f5. And then just 2 more puzzles. These ones are a little bit more simple. You're going to come over. You're going to place a knight on b4. You're going to place a queen on e7 here. And then you are going to go ahead and put a bishop on d5. Okay, and then the final puzzle, number 27, all it requires you to do is to take 4 pieces, which is a little difficult because you have to take 4 of these knights that are all tightly packed together. But you're going to take them in this order. Or the order doesn't matter, but you're going to take these ones. You're going to take f5. You're going to take e3. You're going to take d6. And you're going to take c4. Once that happens, all the pieces are going to disappear here for a second. and then they shall reappear after it says the game begins once more. And instead of the take symbol, you're going to notice this bowl. That's when you can walk up and you can hold, interact, and you can take screenshots, just like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So once again, submit your screenshots in the link below. And it seems like they change like every 5 or 10 minutes. So make sure you're checking to help us solve this. Also, one more note. If you have already solved the puzzle, if you've already been here, you can do a couple of cool things. You can fly in right here into the unknown antechamber. And if you do that, you can select the middle game, which is the puzzles we just solved, or you can select the end game, which is where we currently are, if you just want to help people find their symbols. So if you have any questions, ask down below. Let's solve this larger puzzle.